Hi, and welcome to the podcast. Great to have you along with me. I hope that you have begun the Swat training, Spiritual Warriors Advanced Training. This is the end times, and God's children need to be at war. We need to be about the Father's business now more than ever before. He is about to return, and those who are caught sleeping, it will be very bad for them. But those who are caught awake, yet mindless concerning the lost and the sleeping around them, I don't think it'll go any better. So we don't want to be numbered among the asleep nor among the ignorant. We want to be numbered among them who are awake and on their feet and advancing the purposes of God, being obedient to the commands of Christ. If we believe, the best evidence of our belief is our deeds. James says faith without works is dead. It's dead. It's dead. A dead thing accomplishes nothing. Only the living accomplish things. Now, we began last week with discipline, getting up a half hour early to pray and read the scriptures and finishing off the day in the same manner. And it's been getting easier for me, but at the same time, I stumbled on Saturday. I just was lethargic and lazy and laying around and just no motivation to do anything. And I can't excuse that. I have to take ownership of that and admit it was my own weakness. And as a result of that, the enemy just pounded me, laying into me that Satan is always there to discourage, telling me that I'm a fraud, a fake, I should give up, it's a sham. I really honestly believe that Satan hates what I'm doing. He absolutely hates it. He perceives the threat that you and I present to him. If we're awake and if we're about the Father's business, we are his enemy. And he's going to be pushing back against each and every one of us. He'd rather keep us down than let us get up. So, getting started is the hardest part. We need to persevere. We need to tell the enemy we're not listening. We're focused on Christ, not you and your discouragement and your heavy weight of lethargy and apathy. And, he's going to bring to you all kinds of temptations to distract you. And he knows which ones work with you. So be on your guard. As we move through the armor of God, we'll get more and more practiced at defending ourselves against these attacks so that we can continue to advance ever more strongly. And that's the goal, is not to remain weak, but to be on the battlefield as conquerors. One of us sending 1,000 a flight, two of us sending 10,000 fleeing. This is what we need to be in the end times. So last week I talked about the belt of truth. I put on the belt of truth. What I did was wrote the word truth on my belt so that physically I would be reminded that every time I put it on, I'm putting on truth, and I will not lie. I will not allow lies to be unchallenged around me. If someone else wants to believe lies, I will champion the truth. And wouldn't you know it, the first day that I did that, I had a dream that night that I had told a lie. And the condemnation was so strong when I woke up. Satan really is busy. He really wants to stop this. And I'm excited by that. If he's so worried, then we're giving him a reason to worry. So that's my fist bump to you, that we're not going to be those who are seated, those who are relaxed, those who are taking rest in a time of crisis. I want to move on this week with the next piece of armor, the shoes of the gospel of peace. And I think that we need to add this to our equipment right away. The shoes of the gospel of peace, just like the belt, is very simple. We don't need to complicate it by talking about the heel or the straps or buckles or anything else. It's the shoes of the gospel, the readiness of the gospel, that you and I are carriers of the gospel in the same way that people are carriers of the coronavirus. Wherever we go, we bring the gospel with us. And this is what we need to do. Be willing to allow the Holy Spirit to move in. Just be willing, be open. When you're rubbing shoulders with someone at work or someone in your neighborhood or someone on the street, be willing that the Holy Spirit can move in and carry the conversation. And this is all that we are required to do, is just to open ourselves up, and the Holy Spirit will slide into the conversation and steer it towards the things of God. Release the Spirit in that conversation, so that they are not won by the wisdom of men, but by the Spirit of God. That's our obligation. That's our duty. We are carriers of the gospel. So what I'm going to do is put a cross on the tongue of my shoes, so that when I slip them on, I'm reminded, shoes of the gospel of peace. Today, I am a carrier of the gospel. Today, everywhere I go, the gospel is exuding from me, and someone may become infected by it. And when I'm near someone, then yes, Holy Spirit, if you choose, you have the freedom in this vessel to talk to that person. I will not hinder your ministry. And you'll be surprised, the Holy Spirit will suddenly steer the conversation in a certain way, and whoops, we're talking about the things of God. How did that happen? So release the Holy Spirit by wearing the shoes of the gospel of peace. That is this week's piece of armor. And in some way, whether you have white shoelaces on your shoes or a decoration of some kind, put a pin on your shoes, something that reminds you every day, these are the shoes of the gospel of peace. Thank you so much for joining me. May God strengthen and encourage you and cause you to be more than a conqueror. Take care.